Good day, family and friends. Welcome to our second date at the Coffeehouse Corner Club with yours truly, Debbie Needles. And this is where everyone is invited to share in sips, stories, and songs. So, thank you guys for taking time out of your day to sit and listen and share. Today, I will be singing and performing the song She at the end of this episode. And that is a song that I wrote back in 1996. And I look forward to sharing it with you. It's my magic song that I like to call it. So, guys, get your beverage of choice and go ahead and pause, come on back, and it'll be story time. All right, guys, I hope you're ready for the story of She and the story of Nomad Violet. And really, the theme of today's topic and story is about magic and the creative process, as well as, of course, you got to have the magical places too that inspire you to want to create in the first place. So, going all the way back to 1990, I gotta say that the decade of the 1990s was probably one of the most magical times of my life. And probably because I was in my 20s and I had my first job and first apartment all by myself right out of college. That started in 1990. And at that time, because it was such a quiet environment, I was actually able to hear my thoughts and kind of just really plan and just think clearly because there was no distractions. I wasn't being pulled into anybody's drama, all of that fun stuff. And I started writing a poem for my grandfather who had just passed away. And I don't know, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm thinking, gosh, I've never written poems before. I sang all my life in groups. I should say choirs in the school. I would sing for hours. I would sing to my tape recorders and the radio, and so that was always a big part of my life was singing. But writing poems, not at all. And what happened was, it was just like this whole discovery, a part of myself that I didn't even know that I had or I could do. And then it kind of led to one thing, and one thing led to another. And my grandmother gave me her guitar, her acoustic guitar that she had. She was going to learn to play it herself. But when I wrote a second poem for when my step-grandfather passed away, it had such an impact at the funeral because my grandma asked me to share it with everybody. And I could see how it moved people and really seemed to help speed up the healing process, if you will. And I was hooked. I'm like, gosh, if I could have that impact on people and make them feel, I'm going to keep doing this. So that's when my grandmother gave me the guitar. She said, hey, why don't you try writing some songs? You sing, you write poems now. And so this whole story is on my blog called The Adventures of Nomad Violet. And Nomad Violet was introduced in the song She. And really, you got to read it because it's a long, I wouldn't say long story, but it's a very deep story. And I just finished it last night, and I got to tell you, just being able to reflect on that whole time of my life, and I'm sure many of you have those times in your life too, where you just, you just look back and go, wow, like, okay, that was an amazing time in my life, but now I'm going to try to make new memories and create new memories. And so it was really fun for me, and I hope you have a chance if you're interested in checking it out. But I introduced Nomad Violet in the song She. And Nomad Violet is basically my alter ego. It's kind of fun to say, when we can say to ourselves, I have an alter ego. So, so I'll stop right there about the Nomad Violet part in the song. But really, I just want to talk about the creative process and how not only being quiet can really bring forth a part of yourself that you never even thought you had, but in addition, I just remember reading from Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, that she put out in 2015. She was the author of Eat, Pray, Love. Eat, Love, Pray, Eat, Pray, Love, yeah. And basically what she said is her theory is that there's ideas and thoughts out in the ether, just kind of floating around and waiting to find the right person that they'll go to and that will actually grab the idea and say, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to bring this into fruition. I'm going to manifest this idea. And if you don't choose it and you pass it along, it will float along until the next person that it comes to will accept it and bring it into the world. And I loved reading that because years and years later to hear that just validated exactly what was happening to me back in the 90s. And in particular, this was 1995, 1996. Those 2 years were really prolific for me. And I started working at a sales job at this time. And I remember being in the sales office and I'd hear this melody. It would haunt me all the time. Da 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 da. Dee 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 dee. And it wouldn't go away. And I kept thinking, finally I kind of took notice, like really stopped myself and go, what am I singing? And I started singing around to my sales associates, guys, have you heard this song before? And 2 of them were musicians, which was awesome. And they're like, no. So I thought, okay. And so I put lyrics to it. And voila, the chorus for She was born. And it really was just an idea that was like haunting me. And I don't know, it's like you open these channels, and once they open to that whole creative side of your brain, it seems like things just can start pouring in like there's no tomorrow. And so that's the second thing I wanted to share, is just the magic and being open to it. So guys, if I'm trying to inspire you here, especially maybe you empty nesters, your kids have gone off to college, or just for anyone who wants to feel like you have something to express, or there's this idea that's haunting you. If it feels right, accept it and make it your own and bring it out to the world so we can all enjoy and enjoy into your beautiful creative work. And lastly, the other magic of it all is, I want to say it was Steven Spielberg, but forgive me if it's the wrong director who said this, but I remember him in an interview saying that when he's driving in his car is when a lot of creative ideas come to him. And that's how I feel. The same thing would happen to me. I'd be driving along and a lyric would come to me and I'd go home and write it as fast as I could. As well as being in the shower, the motion of water can be another source of that can bring on the creativity. And then also in running, I would remember I'd go for a run after work and I would come up with ideas all the time. So it's really like meditative states, whether you're in stillness and you're just sitting and you're quiet, or you're in motion. But that has always, reading all of these things have really validated once again, how the creative process can work and open for you. So once again, I hope that inspires you all. But lastly, the canyons, Laurel Canyon, Coldwater Canyon, Topanga Canyon. They're all nestled right there in the Santa Monica Mountains in the Los Angeles area. Such magical places. I mean, for goodness sakes, even the Grand Canyon, just going there a couple years ago with my family, how going there can just change your entire perspective on life. And you can see it like the eagle, like an eagle view, the big picture. And all those things that were bothering you, it's like they just kind of disappear and you realize how insignificant they really are. And that's what the canyons were for me when I lived in Los Angeles. And when you hear there's a lyric in She, driving through the mountains, she finds her mind transcends. That's when Nomad Violet arrives. She smiles and says, I'll bring you freedom. Understand that freedom is me. So there's this part in the canyon that I would come around from my sales job, and I'd be coming down into the San Fernando Valley, and I'd be making this turn. And as soon as I hit that spot, there was something about that spot, and that was in Coldwater Canyon, that I would just transcend into this creative space in my mind. And I thought, gosh, I just want to stay here and write. But as you all know, we have a life to show up for, and sometimes that's just not always possible. So Nomad Violet was that part of me that just wanted to stop and be creative and write and answer the call. And that canyon is also where I recorded She with the Floopjack brothers. I love those guys so much. They were a band that my husband was in. And so my husband, Brad Needles, played on the drums, and Keith Megna, amazing guitar player, he helped arrange, and he was inspired when he heard a little demo and said, hey, let's record this. And he had a bunch of little, I should say, some setups in a cute little guest house out in Coldwater Canyon. And so we recorded it in like 2 days, all the instruments, and then I went back and just put the vocals down. So guys, it was done in canyon rustic style. I was totally broke at the time, and I didn't have money to go into the studio. So I just thought, let's just do this for fun. And so that fun is available now for you to download or to stream on iTunes or Spotify. And lastly, of course, Laurel, we all know about Laurel Canyon, such an inspiring place. I mean, that's where some of the most beautiful music was made. By Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Neil Young. I mean, there's just, the list goes on. Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles. It really is a magical place. And lastly, Topanga, guys. If you ever go to, you're near Malibu, California, and you go through Topanga Canyon, I always have to stop and go to Inn of the Seventh Ray. Such a magical, beautiful, romantic restaurant. Creekside dining. There's candles and lights, and you feel like you're back in the time of Merlin and back in the days when the trolls were coming out, and you feel like you're in the land of the Druids and King Arthur. So it is a total magical place. So hopefully I will get back there sometime soon. And in the meantime, I am going to play for you the song She, and I'd like to dedicate this song to Tony and Aaron for asking me to play the song today, or for my next episode. And also to my Floopjack brothers, Brad, Chris, Keith, and Dog, Chris McRitchie, who is the singer of Floopjack and one of the writers and guitar players. I love you guys. Thank you for always supporting me. And so this one's for you. So enjoy She, guys. It'll be coming right up. Thanks, guys, so much for joining me today and taking the time out to share in all the sips and stories and songs. And if you like the song She, it is available now on iTunes to download, as well as you can stream it very soon here on Spotify, and it'll be available in all the online music stores. And I'm going to leave this with you. This is the card that I drew. This is the deck that I introduced to you during the last episode. And the card is called Music. And it says, there is a melody to be heard in the deepest part of the woods, if only we listen. So guys, make sure you answer that call when it comes. And we look forward to hearing all the beautiful creative work that you will put out there and share with the world. So stay well, love you all so much, and peace.